Good evening, parents and students. My name is Mrs. Wilson. I teach ELA, English Language Arts, journalism, and English language development. I'm going to begin my presentation by going over some general information that applies to all students, and then I'm going to go through each one of these classes in this order. First of all, how to contact me. My email address is jwilson@rsdchapter.org. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And also, if you prefer to use Canvas, on my Canvas landing page, you'll see at the top, contact me. If you click that, it shows you how to sign up for my Remind account. And it also shows my email address. Graduation's coming up, and these are just a few reminders. It will be May 28th, and gold cords are awarded to students who have a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher, and gold gowns to students with a 4.0 or higher GPA. The first part of my presentation will cover my ELA classes. In ELA, the fictional reading that we did this year began with The Outsiders, a classic coming-to-age novel. Students read this at home and did work with it in class with me. And after that, we read a series of short classic horror stories. The Telltale Heart, Lamb to the Slaughter, The Landlady, and The Monkey's Paw, followed by the lengthy short story, Flowers for Algernon and The Treasure of Lemon Brown. After reading these stories, students were asked to choose one character and to create a YouTube channel as if this character were creating that YouTube channel. They didn't actually create the YouTube channel using YouTube because there would be legal issues with that. But what they did do was design a YouTube channel the way it would look on a set of slides. You can find this project in Google Classroom. So you ask your son or daughter to log into Google Classroom and scroll all the way down to week 9. There you'll see YouTube characterization. That's your son or daughter's project. We also did quite a bit of nonfiction reading. Every other week, students received an article of the week, in which it was always about a topic that's fairly current and hopefully interesting to teens. Students would read the article and interact with it by making comments on the side, then writing a summary and a response at the end. Eventually, we worked up to the famous Martin Luther King Jr. speech, "I Have a Dream," and we looked at how King uses elements of rhetoric to convince his audience of his cause. The focus writing for this year in ELA was argumentative writing, and we studied how to develop an effective claim and give your reader background information about that claim, as well as provide reasons to support your claim, factual evidence to back up your reasons, and the hardest part, writing a convincing conclusion. Your son or daughter completed a final project on argumentative writing, and it's in Google Classroom. So if you scroll down to week 29, you'll see my argumentative essay. And there should be a final draft in there, and you can see what your son or daughter completed. If that's the end of my presentation for language arts, and I'm going to move on with journalism and ELD. If your son or daughter is not in one of those classes, you can go ahead and stop the video now. In journalism, here are some highlighted assignments we did this year. We conducted an interview with the teacher, created a Google form to collect information, wrote a movie review, wrote a book review, and designed a newspaper. Now, unfortunately, due to some schedule issues and COVID, we have not yet produced and published our newspaper, but we are currently working on our first issues, which we hope to have maybe 3 out before the end of the year. When we do produce these newspapers, this is sort of what they'll look like. These are newspapers from previous years. These newspapers are designed by students, written by students, published by students, and they're read by students. If that concludes my journalism presentation, so my last part of my presentation will be about ELD, so you can stop the video now if your son or daughter is not in ELD. Each week or two in ELD, I cycle through this instructional model I wanted to show you. First of all, I introduce vocabulary and we practice that vocabulary, phrases and words. And then students watch or listen to a video or recording. After that, they have a focus skill that they're focusing on. So for this particular week, students were looking at the advantages and disadvantages of living on Santa Cruz del Islote. They have a chance to practice their skill together as a class, and then they demonstrate their understanding of it by writing about it. Finally, they practice speaking by recording a video of themselves reading what they wrote. Thank you for coming to Open House tonight virtually, and it was a pleasure to teach your students this year.